Happy Tuesday, folks. It is, let me actually pull out my notes before I share all of the 1,000 tabs I have with the entire internet. It is Tuesday, August 5th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're out here in New Jersey with the Kubeflow community. Pleasure to meet you, everybody, see everybody. Just as a formality, I want to go through the CNCF Code of Conduct. Please, everybody, demonstrate empathy and kindness, be respectful of other viewpoints and experiences, be graceful and acceptive, constructive feedback, accept responsibility and apologize to those affected by our mistakes. Nobody's perfect except my wife. And then please, let's focus on what's best, not just for us as individuals, but the overall community. And let's make sure to use welcome and inclusive language. I am serious. My life is perfect. So everybody stop laughing. I'm kidding. Are there any new members that wanted to introduce themselves today? And if so, please feel free to unmute video and say hi if you want. No obligation, obviously, if you don't.
Hello, my name is Andre. I am a second-year computer science student. I'm a co-op right now at Statistics Canada.
Awesome. Welcome, Andre. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you.
I do come from a stats background, so I always love to see statisticians.
I guess I'll also do an introduction. Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a first year's master's student. I'm also interning at Statistics Canada.
Awesome. What's your favorite moment generating function? Which one? Is it the second, fifth, whatever? And that's a joke. Yeah. Anybody else that wanted to introduce themselves to the community? Okay, great. Well, we'll hear from you guys in a little bit from your demo. I think you guys are the next agenda item. So do we want to just get right to it?
Yep. Okay. They should share their screen if they can.
Yeah, here, let me stop sharing mine.
Okay, everyone can see?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. So let's get started then. All right. So hello, everyone from the Kubeflow community. My name is Andre. I'm a second-year computer science student. I'm joined by my colleague, Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a first-year master's student in computer science based in Ottawa, Canada.
And we're both co-op students for Statistics Canada. And so for the past couple months, me and Justin have been developing a Kubernetes microservice called Volume Cleaner. And we think it can benefit a lot of projects. So we would just like to do a quick showing today and gather some thoughts from the community. So to start, Volume Cleaner is a Kubernetes microservice. It's deployable on any Kubernetes cluster. So it's not specific to Kubeflow, but it does benefit Kubeflow a lot. Essentially, Volume Cleaner will automatically discover unused volumes. It will keep track of how long these volumes have been unused for, and after a specified amount of time, will email owners and delete their volumes. So this is especially useful for large clusters with maybe hundreds or thousands of volumes, because everything is happening automatically. It automatically detects and cleans up those unused volumes. And so I want to talk about the user experience. So after the administrators have deployed Volume Cleaner, the users don't have to do anything. All they'll notice is that sometimes their unused volumes will automatically be deleted. But this should actually never be a surprise, because Volume Cleaner should always be configured to send emails before anything is deleted. So if a user receives such an email and wants to keep their volume, all they would have to do is log into Kubeflow and reattach their volume to any notebook. That way, it won't be classified as unused anymore, and it will be ignored. So at the end of the day, it's less clutter for users in their workspaces, and it's less expenditure for admins. So it's a win-win for both sides. All right, so here's our proposal. We think Volume Cleaner can benefit a lot of clusters. So we would like the community's opinion on how we can maximize its usefulness as an open source project. So one of our ideas is for it to become an official Kubeflow repository. Me and Justin, we attended a community meeting a couple weeks ago, and there was a point raised where there are a lot of dead demos where people create something, but then they don't maintain it or contribute to it, and it's just dead afterwards. And so it's definitely a situation we want to avoid. Me and Justin are quite willing to collaborate and become long-term contributors. And even though we're representing StatCan today, we're both personally invested in this project, and we're more than happy to continue maintaining it after our term ends. But we'll save that discussion for afterwards. Now I will hand it off to Justin, who will talk a little bit more about how the volume cleaner works.
Thank you, Henri. Hello, everyone. As I've said, I'm Justin, a first year's master's student in computer science and also interning at StatsCan. So now that Henri has given us a high-level overview of volume cleaner, let's dive one level deeper into this microservice. So here's a general architectural diagram of the system. The microservice is broken down into two main parts: the controller, which you can see labeled as phase 1, and the scheduler, which is labeled as phase 2. Now, each of these loosely coupled components play a key role in observing the creation and deletion of Kubeflow notebooks, labeling them, notifying users, and ultimately deleting volumes. So if we look at phase 1, which is the controller, the component is deployed as a deployment kind, and it continuously observes stateful set events. And based off of these events, the controller applies a timestamp label to the stateful set's associated persistent volume claims to track, volume inactivity. And therefore, the controller's primary responsibilities are watching and labeling. So next, if we look at phase 2, which is the scheduler, this component is deployed as a cron job kind, and it uses the timestamp labels provided by the controller to calculate how long a volume has been inactive. And depending on the duration of inactivity, the jobs ran by the cron job will either notify users via email about their stale volumes or delete their associated volumes. Now, before I go into detail, please keep this diagram in mind. We'll revisit it after I explain each phase 1 and phase 2. And by the end, when I show this to you again, you'll hopefully have a much clearer understanding of how this simple yet effective service works. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the controller in detail. The controller specifically watches for the creation and deletion of notebooks, which in this case are stateful sets. And based off the triggered event, a timestamp label is either removed or added. So looking at the removed or added events. So for example, when a stateful set is deleted, the controller examines its state before deletion. It finds its associated persistent volume claim and patches them with an unattached timestamp label. Now, conversely, when a stateful set is created, the controller performs the reverse. It finds its associated PVC and removes the unattached timestamp label. Next slide, please. So now that we've explained the controller aspect, and now that the PVCs have been given timestamps, we can use them to track inactivity. And it's up to the scheduler, so phase 2, to notify users about their staleness and delete volumes if needed. So whenever the scheduler cron job runs based off of a customly defined schedule by editing some config map, each job checks the timestamp label on every persistent volume claim. The job then performs a simple calculation looking at the difference between the label and the current date to see if it has passed a defined grace period or notification period. And if it has, the job will either, 1, send requests to some third-party email service, which in the case in Statistics Canada is a service called GC Notify, to notify users about their stale volumes and the number of remaining days before its deletion. And if it doesn't send, let's say, an email to the user, the other thing that the job will do is delete the persistent volume claim, so PVC. And assuming that a proper reclaim policy has been set, that can then trigger a chain of deletions for its persistent volume and whatever backing storage solution you may have. And in our case, at Statistics Canada, it's Azure Disks. Next slide, please. So as promised, here is the architectural diagram again. And now that we've walked through the specifics of both the controller and scheduler, I hope this visual representation provides a much clearer understanding of how these two components work in concert. And together, these loosely coupled components ensure that inactive Kubeflow notebook volumes are efficiently managed, freeing up resources and maintaining a cleaner environment. Now, this diagram encapsulates the entire workflow from observation and labeling to notification and eventual deletion. Now, I'll pass it back to Andre, who will provide resources for finding more information about this project.
Thanks, Justin. So here we have a lot of different resources. For example, our GitHub repository and our project board, as well as a document that contains a lot more detail about the volume cleaner. I would like to point out here's my GitHub and my email, as well as Justin's GitHub and email. Please feel free to reach out if anyone has any questions. Here are some resources for our organization. But with that out of the way, we can conclude the presentation and move on to the discussion. So does anyone have any initial thoughts about the project or our proposal?
Also, I just linked our slide deck. Take a second to kind of skim through it if needed.
Yeah, I have one question. Should we also extend this to non-stateful set deployments? Do not just watch for Jupyter Labs or VS Code, but just in general, any kind of workload. Or any kind
yes.
of PVC that is not used by any kind of workload.
So we've developed this for our needs with our Kubeflow cluster, and we have them with stateful sets. So right now it does work with only stateful sets, but once it becomes like a full-fledged open source project, that can easily be refactored, I'm thinking.
And would you like to then merge this somehow into the Kubeflow repositories? Did you think about it already?
So that was an idea. We're not too sure, so that's why we wanted to have this presentation and kind of gather some thoughts here, but that could be a possibility.
Yes, we also noticed that there are formal proposals written in the Kubeflow community repository, so we're working on writing one of those as well.
My recommendation is, in this particular case, if it's related to notebooks, especially because Notebooks v1 is going to be deprecated, this is definitely a useful feature. Like, we've got this feature for notebooks themselves, but for V2, in V2, I mean, for PVCs, the reason why we didn't originally do it was because of the risk of deleting data. But my question is just, maybe I missed it slightly. How do you actually determine what using means, right? Is it just any inode change, or what is the actual?
So it's if it has a link to the stateful set. So we kind of look at the look at the YAML for the stateful set and see if it lists.
So it's not like actually if it's being used per se. It's like is it actually mounted almost?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know if the user is actually accessing this volume day by day.
Interesting. Definitely, let's talk more about this feature, especially if you've got if you want to help out with code stuff. Like, we've got a lot of and like Notebooks v2 is quite different, but it's similar. Like, the ideas will be the same. My only concern is obviously we probably wouldn't use a cron job, but the concept, I mean, there's lots of things to think about. Like, how do you track what a PVC that should have been attached to a notebook is? You know what I mean? Like, there's that one, right? You know what I mean? Like, a PVC might exist for other reasons. You've got the fact that someone might intentionally want to mark a PVC as safe. You know what I mean? So I think we talked about in other V2 spec, we did talk about this. But anyway, I just let's talk about this on Thursday. If you come on Thursday at 8 a.m. every Thursday, we do a notebooks meeting. There's lots of work going on there, and if I'd love to get this feature idea implemented into V2. So if you want to help do that, that would be amazing.
Okay,
yeah,
definitely.
we'd love to. So just as follow-up, do we just show up at the meeting? Do we send you an email?
So definitely paste your idea so that people can discuss it beforehand in the Kubeflow-Notebooks channel. there's a lot going on in there. So like, I don't know how many people respond, and I know some people are on leave right now who are like, a lot of the leads are on leave right now, but but actually that might help you because that means we can talk about it more in the meeting on Thursday. So, but yeah, definitely we meet every Thursday. It can, if you have a specific desire for this specific feature, let's talk about how we can get it in for V2.
Okay.
I
Sounds
like
awesome.
this feature. The economic benefit. I don't know if there's some example that potentially could be shown, but I mean the administrator's time to go through and delete these, the cost of the extra storage. There is an economic benefit here that might be able to be quantified in some way. Maybe it's just inherent and people understand it automatically. It's just like, busy work that you don't want to have to do. But the only piece would be deleting, data that took a long time to create and somehow lost accidentally. I think that's the only big concern there, but I think you guys have addressed that. So great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
That's
much.
why we really stressed the email notifications. So like ideally you would deploy this volume cleaner and then you would have like, I don't know, maybe like 10 different email times. So users would receive a lot of notification before anything is actually deleted.
I also just will highlight that one of the reasons why Notebooks V1 accumulates PVCs is due to the way the UI works. That UI kind of non-explicitness of creating PVCs has been fixed in V2, where effectively like now it will never automatically create one. You must manually bind it or not at all. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Mm.
like that was kind of the main reason why I think it ended up happening in V1. But yeah, cool, awesome, very excited to talk more, especially new Notebooks contributors. I was already going to call out people to come to that meeting, so we'll do that after the next demo. But yeah.
Could you
Sounds good.
explain a bit
Thank you very
more,
much.
Matthew?
Which part?
So you said the V2 experience of notebooks is different in a sense that you have to explicitly create the storage first.
Yeah, it's just more like you could never accidentally new users in V1 can very easily accidentally create a PVC. That is not, unless you really just even if you spam click, you won't be able to do that in V2. It's just,
Okay.
it's going to be like, hey, did you actually mean to attach this notebook PVC you created before, kind of thing. It's going to be a lot more prompting you to suggest these things.
Okay, and by the way, is there an estimation on when we might get V2 notebooks?
You got to come to the meeting on Thursdays to help out with that. No, I'm not going to commit to a date on the recording today, but we're working on it. There's a lot of people working on it. So if you want to make it happen faster, which I know you're helping with some of the stuff that is happening with the dashboard, so keep doing that. But yeah, thank you for your demo. It's great.
Yeah, thanks for the great demo, Justin. So, and Andre, I think, yeah, I think Matthew's right. So I think like initial, so my point, volume cleaner is useful, but I think like, to show usefulness, especially for end users, it would be nice to have first integration with notebooks, like slash workspaces, because it's like the mostly common, like use project within Kubeflow where this might be helpful. For example, like, for other CRDs, like, job sets, for example, we're planning to orchestrate volumes within stateful job sets, similar to how you have stateful what is it, like the stateful sets, basically when you can add like the orchestration of PVC as part of the stateful set lifecycle. It's already in Kubernetes upstream, so we don't need to really managing PVC outside of the CRD orchestration. But I think for notebooks, especially like since the PVC should leave after, when the notebook has been called, or like, what you want to remove the resources, I think this will be really interesting to see the integration. So again, like I think like is the next step, just join please the notebooks call, and let's see how we can, evolve this. Sounds
Definitely.
great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for this Henri and Justin, we'll follow up on some conversations, and I think it'll be really great. And thank you for presenting. This is awesome. So always love to see feedback from the community. And for some reason, there was weird copy pasting.
It's something. I think someone must have two of them open or something weird is happening because every time I accepted it, it happens twice.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's weird. I just only added once. So, yeah, I guess I will share. Are we ready for the next topic? Because I would like to introduce Josh. Okay, Josh, Paul, are you there?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can hear.
Yeah, so he's been fantastic. He's volunteering the outreach program, so he's been helping with a lot of activities, including reaching out to end users, which bring us to the topic today. So, Josh, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so today we have Himanshu with us. He works as a DevRel engineer at Improving, and he will be sharing his experience with Kubeflow as an end user. Also, Himanshu wrote a blog about this, which was featured in Cube Weekly. So yeah, Himanshu, you can start now.
Yeah, hello folks. I hope you can hear me clearly. In the meanwhile, I'm setting up my presentation. I'll just introduce myself quickly. I think I should have already done that. So I'm developer relations engineer at Improving. Improving just came to India and now, hence I'm part of Improving now. And this is basically my experience, like setting up Kubeflow on GKE from a novice perspective, like literally novice perspective. I never used Kubeflow before, and I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm relatively new to the Kubeflow community, but I'm here to share the experience of Kubeflow on GK and why I use Manifest and some of the hard lessons I've learned in the meantime from the perspective of developer experience and developer relations. So basically, our team recently faced, not recently, back in April, faced a challenge, a production ML challenge that you might already be aware of or might have handled in some way or another. So we need to orchestrate ML pipeline with persistent storage that could be shared across multiple pipelines components. Although I was prototyping the standard Kubernetes storage solution, and the one-size-fits-all Kubeflow instruction simply couldn't meet our requirements for consistent storage behavior across all Kubeflow components, as I mentioned earlier. Highly available, scalable persistent storage, along with RWM read many access modes for shared artifacts, along with some fine-grained control over components configuration that I'll be speaking in upcoming slides. So for each stage, including data acquisition, feature preparation, model training, and evaluation, so we need a particular persistent artifact files and metrics file that could be shared and accessed reliable across the entire pipeline in a single cluster, in a common cluster. So you can assume I'm running a Kubeflow in a single cluster along with another component which is giving me a persistent storage. So this led us down to the path of the manifest based, or you can say component by component if I'm not wrong, and addition that taught us valuable lessons. So that's what I would like to share with the community today. So before I'll talk about the problem with the standard, so before the why I use manifest, I'll like to talk about the problems with the standard install we encountered. So the standard international guide is definitely excellent for getting started quickly, but they abstract away a critical configuration point we need for deep storage integration. We couldn't achieve the level of customization required for our persistent storage solution bound with the manager and the Kubeflow cluster that we have the documentation about. So with the requirement of single cluster handling the storage integration along with the Kubeflow running on that. So that was one of the major challenge. And the specification and incompatibility with the storage integration, because both have different specification. If I go with standard, it gives me different clusters with the management and Kubeflow. However, my persistent storage cluster requires something else, some other dynamics or specification in the cluster. So the key point was the standard persistent volume setup weren't sufficient for the production ML workload. And hence, we chose the manifest-based approach for three critical reasons. First, the fine-grained control. We needed to integrate our chosen container native solution and set it as a default storage class. Standard installation method abstract away exactly the configuration point we need to modify. And the second was the deep storage integration, as I mentioned earlier, but we'll talk about a little bit. So we could explicitly define PVCs with RWM access modes and application policies. This meant cloning the Kubeflow manifest repo and using the customized build example recursively to have a complete control. And third was single cluster coexistence. So we need the components and our storage layer deeply integrated within one cluster. We don't want to have any downtime. I could not, it is still a prototype, but I was just doing my best to do what I could. So like avoiding the abstractions that might hinder our custom storage configuration. So a critical technical step was changing the cluster default storage class from GK standard RWO to our replicated storage class. So like if I skip this step, I'll get inconsistent behavior across my particular ML workloads. So the result was our ML pipeline now have a reliable shared person storage with full control of each component's behavior. So now let me share some technical challenges we encountered. This might be, I think, you might already know, most of the community members might already know, but I did feel this is something new for me. I've been not a Kubeflow user ever. I've moved to a Jupyter notebook, but I've used Python maybe 6 months in my whole career. But yeah, that's that. So now for that, so these patterns are likely applicable regarding your installation method. So you might face it, might not, depending upon your cluster size. So Kubernetes has a strict 256 KB limit on CRD metadata. So we hit that. Why we hit this when some of our CRDs have already overly verbose annotations, and the solution was manually pruned unnecessary annotation from CRD YAMLs before applying. And so lessons here is to always check CRD sizes, and this was something new for me, especially when using tools that add extensive metadata. Second challenge was that is relatively to with GKE, so workload identity and IAM misconfiguration. So this was particularly tricky on GKE. Kubeflow components need precise IAM rules, as you are aware of, to interact with GCP services. And the symptoms, how did I concrete to this misconfiguration was the symptoms of port crash and the crash looping with authentication errors. So root cause was incorrect service account to GSA. So the solution was verification of IAMs. However, this is basically a note. Maybe you might have skipped or not. Next was resource constraint in the multi-tool cluster. So running Kubeflow alongside the other tools require careful resource planning. This is where I faced a challenge, and I was stuck for 3 days because I was using a standard installation and trying to install my storage component on the same cluster, but due to the misconfiguration, I was not, and my pod was stuck in pending state due to insufficient storage. So we implemented separate node pools with tames and toleration for workload isolation. And the result I got was to always check and increase CPU memory quotas before deployment. Why I'm saying this? Because I was prototyping, so I wanted the cost as much low as possible. However, I have to actually pay it later on. And comes the challenge 4 was the disruption budget blocking scaling. So PDBs are crucial for availability, but can prevent efficient scaling. So the problem was overly restrictive PDBs prevented node scaling down like operations. And the resolution was selectively adjusted PDBs, keeping only those criticals for the core services. And the core service I was using was ML pipeline, so along that. And the balance was to maintain availability while allowing cluster efficiency. And last was unexpected one, Linux kernel limits. So Kubeflow generates many file system events during the pipeline execution. So the symptoms I saw was log loss and the stuck parts, and the root cause was low default inotify limits. So we have to increase this. For this was unexpected. So that's why I later on started writing the blog about it. So why this approach pays off? This might not pay work for you. You might have a different use case. So the only thing I can talk about this approach transferred our debugging and maintenance capabilities. So it enhanced debugging. So the isolation means precise of the logs and describe commands. When something breaks, you know exactly which service to investigate instead of untangling monolithic deployment, which I did. My bad. Simplified maintenance. So understand each component's manifest means active updates and patches. We can apply that. I think you already aware of. So I'll proceed with the productive confidence. So This level of control at the end, after a whole week of going here and there and debugging all those things, gave me a crucial confidence, and also like a control is crucial when you need reproducible, reliable ML workflows in production environments. And comes when to use this approach. So this is basically, I mean, by the end of this slide, or we are eventually ending the slide, this is turning over from manifest versus standard installation than my experience, but it is what it is. So this method isn't for everyone. Considering component or manifest installation when you need deep infrastructure integration, so custom storage, networking, and security requirements, or you have a specific compliance needs, or like regulatory or security requirements that demand fine-grained control, or are you migrating between storage backends or running hybrid cloud scenarios? And next, I think I'm missing one. Yeah, or you need version control, specific components version for stability and compatibility. But you have to watch out for like the gaps, like be prepared to fill in the blanks in case there is anything missing, or you from the vendor side. I think I was using a vendor which had quite a lot of gaps. They don't have a prerequisite mention. That's why I spent a couple of days that why it is not why I'm a port stuck. And this might result into more complexity which might not be your aim. So you're taking on more operational responsibility than actually working on your ML pipeline, which I did with a standard one, but standard instruction comes with good fast setup. However, I need the manifest one. And as I mentioned, the version compatibility challenges. So always check Kubeflow release notes. And coming to the last part, I think I have spoken too fastly. I didn't know. I thought I had 15 minutes, but yeah, I'm wrapping it up quick, fast. But thank you for attention in the meantime. So because of all this, the whole 1 week of stint of me going here and there, I wrote a particular blog for troubleshooting, which I think got featured in Cube Weekly. Thanks for that. And if you want to have a quick look into it, want to know more what challenge I faced, you can look into the blog post. So for anyone who wants to like read further, as I mentioned, you can go through it. And I'm happy to discuss your experiences, what deployment challenge you have faced, and more. So this is me sharing my experience as a first-time Kubeflow users. And my bad, I used GK. Later on, when I shifted to AWS, I was like, wow, this is quick, fast. This is very fast. So there was not a major challenge of Kubeflow. The major challenge was the documentation of the requirements. However, it's up to you what kind of requirement do you have. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your talk. I would like to ask which version of Kubeflow Manifest you used and how many users you serve.
Okay, so it was prototype. So actually, it was internally for our engineering team for 2024 users. So the benefit version, so I have to go through my whole draft because it was last April. You have to bear with me for a minute. But I want to know, like, does manifest version cause any issues like that? I don't think so.
It can change. It changed quite dramatically over the past few years.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was back in April. So I think I haven't mentioned the manifest version on my draft. Okay, I can't give you a assumed version number, but I have to look back at that.
Maybe 1.9.1 or so around that if it was last April or 1.8.1. Have to check.
Yeah, I was 8.1. Yeah, it was 8.1. Yeah, 81. I remember.
There's
81.
quite a big difference to 1.9, but yeah, unfortunately. Stuff got
So,
a lot
that was-
easier to do, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was my I was literally I was spending overnights like how, because I'm new to CNCF. I'm more into hybrid system or VMs compared to clusters. So I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrongly. But eventually it was the vendor's issue that the prerequisites were not there, and I was doing the misconfiguration and my ports are stuck. So this was the main challenge, and I was like, so like maybe next year shouldn't face this. Let's write about this on the specifically for GK, because I was at the end kind of troubled with GK, but the Azure and AWS experience was top notch.
Do you plan on updating to the latest Kubeflow version? This would be really interesting for us to see how you fare there, because we don't have that many user stories on upgrades.
Oh, nice. Because I have heard like small inquiries from my internal team, like 2-3 inquiries that should you, I mean, they were raising that I should upgrade to the latest version, but the major people was still like looking for stability. That was the main concern. I haven't yet upgraded, but maybe I'll just switch it and maybe I can update my draft with the new section. What happens after the new releases, and did I have to do anything else, or will it be compatible with the new manifest?
Because we now actually have some rough update guidance.
Okay.
It would be really interesting for you if you test it out. I think in general, I think I started with Kubeflow 1.1 or so. In general, after from 1.8 to 1.10.1,
Okay.
you should have more or less the same functionality.
Understood. So yeah,
I think he might be talking
yeah.
about the internal app changes, but yeah, you know, because like obviously the user-facing changes, I think is what he's talking about, right? But
Well, right, the pipeline was there was no issue with the pipeline. The issue was the incompatibility with the vendor. So I'll check the vendor as well if they have upgrade their version, because I was using the previous one. So maybe with that particular new version and with the new version of Manifest, I'll have a new experience, and I would love to share it maybe before the next call.
You could, for example, reach out on the Kubeflow minus platform channel, share your story there, and then we can see what could work for you.
Sure.
So yeah, thanks for that demo. I think we do have a couple more items on. Has anyone got any final questions they want to ask?
No, I agree with Julius. I think it will be very interesting to see how the experience, is after using the latest version. But this was very useful, and thank you so much for sharing your experience.
If you want to put a link to your slides in the doc, that would be good.
Sure, I'll do that.
Cool. Awesome. I think Valentina or Julius was quickly talking about the fact that, did you cut this release?
Yeah, another thing before that. So Andre, he mentioned also will be great if you we can talk offline if you will be interested to be part of the adopter list as well. But we'll send you the links and so you can review it. Yes, so Julius is here. So thank you so much, Julius. So this is a minor release. We talked about this in the previous community meeting. I posted also on social media. The why we work on this minor release is one of the reasons was security updates, and also the Istio version that we were using was out of support. With that, it's including some minor features as well that don't have rollback compatibility issues. So we are welcome everyone to test it, review it, provide some inputs. This should be the only release that we are doing, minor release between the graduation, but we are still waiting. As you all know, graduation make us pause the major release because we all want to be focused on graduation, which is a critical aspect for Kubeflow and the community. So we are waiting to learn more about graduation date and so on in order to announce the continuation of the next release. So the other thing, if you're here listening and if you want to contribute to graduation, please join us next week, this same time at the same hour, this same meeting.
Same time, same channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yep. So that's cool. Is Andre
since I am here, since I am here, just a quick update on KubeCon. So
yeah, let's do that at the top. Yeah, let's do that. Move that. Yeah.
So KubeCon, so Chase and I, we are both chairs for the program. So we had the challenge to work with, select the amazing sessions that all of you submitted. So thank you so much for that. So just a reminder that we have the dates. Tuesday, August is when the notifications to speakers will be delivered. And also the schedule will be announced next day on Wednesday, August 13th. The other thing, Tarek is our outreach lead. He's been working as well on many initiatives. One of them is we want to promote and celebrate the work that you are doing as part of the Google Summit of Code as mentor, but also all the mentees, students, and contributors that are, adding their energy, adding time into Kubeflow and learning and having many discussions. So we want to promote all these contributions in social media to celebrate you. So yeah, so please, mentors, reach out to Tarek, and he will be posting the amazing things that everyone is doing through social media. So reach out as soon as possible so we can start working on that. And with that, I don't have any other updates. So thank you.
Cool. And so, like, just quickly, so the CFP is already closed, obviously, but we're sending out the notifications. So book your tickets to KubeCon now. Get your company to approve your tickets to KubeCon. It's like they get more expensive in like 30 days, I think. Is it about that, right?
It could be. Yeah, and the other thing, let me see, but
you can
I
easily
don't know.
find the link by clicking up
do
the
you
top.
know? Yeah,
So
exactly.
you can go into kubeflow.org and click at the top, and then book. And then this is for the Kubeflow Summit, but obviously if you book a ticket to here, you can also book a ticket to the KubeCon overall. It's in Atlanta, in America, in Georgia.
Yes.
So just highlighting, because obviously people take time to get approval for things, so like make sure you do that.
Yeah. Price will be changing in August 26th. So right now it's the standard price going on.
Of course,
so
if your company has a sponsor, then you get free tickets and stuff, but that's separate, you know.
Yeah. So the other thing, if you already know you will be attending, we will be looking for volunteers at booths, and there will be many activities. So please start reaching out to me or to Tarek. So we can start like looking to see how you can contribute, and for sure we'll be meet, and hopefully I will be there as well. But yeah, just start reaching out and let us know about your plans at KubeCon. So yeah, thank you.
Yep, just I'll link both of those there so people
Perfect, thank you.
do it. So there's the main Kubeflow Summit, which is the pre-event, and then there's the main KubeCon, which you can come to either or one, but we'll be at both, obviously. Just want to highlight that because I know that a lot of people get approvals and things. So
yeah, that's true.
Awesome. Valentina, do you want to quickly say this, or is there something about this?
Yeah, I already mentioned. So we are promoting, the Google Summit of Code. I think, next is Andre. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I'll let Andre go first before I'll do a quick notebooks update after that. But yeah.
Yeah, let's do it quickly. Yeah, so I think I just didn't announce it here, but Kubeflow Trainer has been joined the PyTorch ecosystem. I don't know if you saw the announcement, but it was huge for us. Like we started this project back in 2017. Like for those who are not aware, actually, training operator previously was named a TensorFlow operator. This is how Kubeflow got started within Google. So Google open sourced TensorFlow operator. Then they started a notebooks project. They merged them together, and this is how Kubeflow has started. And right now, like we have, we rebranded this to the trainer, and right now we have like much more deep integration with the PyTorch. So we just decided to make sure, like AI ecosystem and all those folks who are developing PyTorch are aware that we have a tool for them to run PyTorch and Kubernetes in a more kind of, PyTorch native way. So I think what has been for us, like we still like Kubeflow trainer is still, Kubeflow project, which is kind of like a part of broader PyTorch landscape. So Matthew, if you open like the first link I shared, it shows like all the different projects that PyTorch has within its ecosystem. So you can find like TorchTune here, Torch, SGLang, VLLM. So all these projects that's, many AI practitioners know about. They're part of the PyTorch ecosystem. And right now, like we have like the first cloud native project, which is also part of it in the distributed section here. So I think this is great. So really exciting to work closely with the PyTorch team and to see how we can, make sure Kubernetes is the right platform to run PyTorch at scale. And it's like it requires all the work, and I really hope that like the Meta folks and other folks who are maintaining PyTorch will take it very seriously and work with us more closely. Yeah, any questions for this so far?
Just to be clear, just so people don't get confused, Trainer is still part of Kubeflow. It's just in the ecosystem. It's like a partnership kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, PyTorch has a concept, like PyTorch Foundation has a concept of PyTorch hosted project, like which is part of PyTorch Foundation, like VLLM and DeepSpeed. If I remember correctly, if you scroll down here on this landscape, it shows like this project is part of the foundation. But all other projects, they kind of like have a deep integration with the PyTorch, so they're part of the PyTorch ecosystem. And which means like they have their own governments, but because they have a deep integration with the PyTorch, they can list themselves here. So the PyTorch kind of committee approved like the projects who can be part of the like the broader ecosystem.
Also, I'm pretty sure that the PyTorch is also part of the Linux Foundation, right? Which the CNCF is also part of, right?
Yeah, but PyTorch has its own foundation.
Is it also its own foundation?
Yeah, similar to Jupyter. Like
Oh, it's like its
PyTorch
own
had-
one. Who's it ending up owned by, or is it actually owned by
like
PyTorch?
PyTorch Foundation is similar to CNCF. So CNCF has its own foundation. PyTorch also has its own foundation.
But like in like the ownership structure, does it go up to the Linux Foundation?
Yeah, it's going to Linux. CNCF
Okay, yeah.
also part of Linux,
That's what I'm
but
saying, right? Yeah,
CNCF
yeah.
is its own foundation under Linux Foundation.
But yeah, this is exciting. Great, Andre. Amazing work here. Thank you for doing this. I guess the question is, what's our next step?
Yeah, next step is get involved. Like I think like we I think for us as a community, I would love again think deeply how we can work more closely with ML folks. I think this was a challenge for us for many years because the people who have background of Kubernetes usually have a background of ML, and we have the similar problem from other side. So the question how we can work more closely with them to ensure Kubernetes is the right platform and they take us seriously. So this is the kind of the
My
goal for us for the long term. Yeah.
my perspective there is that since most of the big users of AI are not doing it for inferencing, Kubernetes is kind of the only solution that makes sense because inferencing is inherently networking from outside of the system into the system. And as a result of that, since the majority of GPUs in the world are probably going to run Kubernetes, training will have to happen on those same GPUs.
Yeah, I
So
think this is the goal. Yeah, but
that's kind of where I
I
see the
mean,
path of
we still have vendors who don't use Kubernetes, like not vendors, like end users, and like the large.
long term. I think because inferencing is going to be the major workload, you
Yeah,
know, I just feel like it's gonna. That's why I think we're in such a good position as Kubeflow and Kubernetes to. We just need to make sure that our tools are up to the task. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's the goal. But
Yep,
it's
yep,
amazing
yep,
that
yeah.
you're
Like,
working.
absolutely. Like, these days, inference is the most critical component, and especially with the world of, agents, how people view those LLMs and build, systems on top, rather than, spending a bunch of your compute to train those models. Definitely, we should, rethink what is the benefits for us within the.
Not to say that trainer isn't important. In fact, that's what I'm saying, right? Because trainer allows you to run training workloads beside inferencing workloads.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's more like, oh, I've got less users querying my endpoints right now. I'm going to use some of that capacity to do a training run. You know what I mean? Like that. That's
Yep.
kind of that's how I kind of view it as. That's why I'm very bullish on Kubernetes being the standard.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, definitely there's still a lot of work required. I mean, I think like the biggest problem right now, like as I can see, all those new libraries, they don't take Kubernetes seriously. They don't, start to build their libraries from the, Kubernetes is the first class citizen, which has been a problem for many years. And we'll see how it, goes. Like, VLM, like, invested in LMD these days, right? And LMD, like, focusing on, like distributed inference. Um, but overall, for the broader kind of ecosystem, I don't see the huge trend towards, Kubernetes should be a platform to deploy our tools at scale. I hope that will change in the long term, in the long run.
Valentina's got her hand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, first, congratulations. I think this is amazing, fantastic. When I saw the announcement, I was like, wow, this is good. So I do have a question. So how do you see, I don't know, like how we will work together with all the different communities? Because the hope, I guess, is like we will have the PyTorch community also come in and be more involved with trainer. Will be using the same meeting that you have right now with the working groups they have right now, or is that how that synergy will happen, I guess, in the next weeks?
Yeah, so I think it's more about exposure right now and like tell users, hey, if you want to run PyTorch Kubernetes, you can come to us. Like we want to promote this message. I think we like in general we should promote this message. If people want to run AI on Kubernetes, they should come to us. And this is the one of the goals how we can encourage more people to take us seriously for like to run PyTorch on Kubernetes. In terms of meetings, like PyTorch, like I think like what would be the good next steps for us to participate in the PyTorch Con, for example. Like the deadline has been passed for this. I think the next one will be in San Francisco in October, if I remember correctly. But I think it would be nice to allocate, maybe to speak on those conferences. And like right now we, have more, it does make sense for us to speak on those conferences because we're part of ecosystem, right? So maybe it's a good thing for us to continue this exposure moving forward. Yeah, the one that you linked, Valentina, you're right.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Andre. I really think this is critical for the future of Kubernetes and the project to make sure that trainer makes sense, because inferencing makes sense inherently on Kubernetes, but we need to make sure that training makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just a reminder, 2.0 blog post still there. So if you want to take this out, we're working on 2.1 already. So I have a lot of things in agenda items, which is interesting. But if you want to get an overview, what is it about and what we're working on, please take a look. All right.
Yeah, we don't have very much time left, but I just want to highlight, if you are interested in contributing to Notebooks 2.0, which is a rewrite of Notebooks, it's on Thursday at 8 a.m. is our next meeting, Pacific time. We meet every Thursday. We're always looking for new people who want to help contribute. I'm just trying to find one that I can copy the link to from an old message. But yes, if you're a user of Notebooks, there we go. If you're a user of Notebooks, it's probably not quite ready yet for you to try. It's like there's a little bit of stuff to do, but if you're a if you're wanting to help out make the future of the platform, that kind of thing, please do join the meeting. Or if you can't join, message on the Slack channel under Kubeflow-notebooks, and we can probably help you find a task if you have some time to work on controller related, or with Go or with JavaScript front-end stuff. Yes. And there's an issue here. It's not a tracking issue, but it's a FAQ issue, really. Yes. Cool. I don't want to overrun the meeting time if we don't need to. So unless anyone's got anything else they want to throw on.
And I put a topic in the top of the agenda, but I think it was just missed. But it's just a kind of a public service announcement to take a look at the design doc for centralized experiment tracking Kubeflow. Essentially pitching decoupling experiments and experiment tracking that's currently in Kubeflow pipelines and make it more generic. So yeah, if you're interested, please read the doc and comment on the PR. Thank you.
Do you want me to just put that as a link here for people? I'll just move it down here.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, actually, just to remind, I think this is great, Matt. I strongly encourage everyone to take a look. This was the huge need for for us for many years. We definitely need to kind of prioritize. Yeah, this.
Is GitHub down right now?
Yeah, it is.
That's so unfortunate.
Save the link for later, please.
Okay.
They should spend so many time in for AI agents these days.
Too much AI. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so again, I think we need to get time maybe in 2 weeks to talk about it on the community call again, because I would love Matt to give an overview and to see how we can all the projects actually within Kubeflow can benefit from it.
Yes, I will just put that back there. Okay, cool, awesome. Thanks everyone for coming. Next week is the as what do you call it? It's the graduation meeting. Are we still going to be doing those every other week, Andre?
Yeah, let's talk about this next week. Maybe because we're almost done with graduation. I think the only thing is security audit, and everything else was done. So maybe we can have 30 minutes for graduation, 30 minutes for community call. We can think about it.
Yeah,
let's come back next week.
If we do it, let's do the community call at the beginning, I think, maybe. Awesome. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks everyone for coming. Feel free to stay on the call if people want to chat about things, but cool.
Thank you. Bye.